All right, here to react now is Florida State Representative. We have Danny Perez joining us live. Also, Derek Maltz, a former agent in charge of the DEA's Special Ops Division. Good to see all of you here. Let's just dive right in here. Attorneys representing migrant children have described to CBS News some shocking and alarming descriptions about the state of the conditions that these migrant children are in. Some of those are showering one time every 7 days, not being able to sleep. They have to take turns sleeping because there's not enough room. Also the complex reportedly, and this CBS News got this from CBP. The complex is holding 1,800 in a facility that only holds 250. 1,800 in a 250 capacity facility, up 729% there. Representative Danny Perez, I want to ask you this because we know Florida has been selected as a site to house some of these migrants. Have you been to these facilities in this CBS report? Is it in line with things you've heard? Your thoughts?
It's exactly in line with what we've heard. And the sad part is, these are the same individuals today that are elected officials who are complaining about the Trump administration. Yet because of the policies that have been implemented by President Joe Biden, we have a mess on our hands that's unseen, never seen before. You guys nailed it when you said a stat a couple minutes ago where you said we've had more children show up at the border over the last 30 days than we did all of the year 2020. The facts speak for themselves. What you're hearing is very true. The conditions are poor, but the policies of the Biden administration have insinuated that we are welcoming all people at the border, regardless of documentation. And that's what's led us to where we're at today, a mess on our hands.
Derek, I'll bring you into this because it goes past what we're mentioning about how many are coming into the border. It's not just a humanitarian crisis. Some argue it's the reason why we have such a big drug problem in our country, and it could only get worse. What are your thoughts on it based on your background?
First of all, there's a reason that the government, politicians are sending FEMA to help on the border. When I think of FEMA, I think of disaster assistance, emergency management, and that's exactly what we have. This is a recipe for disaster as the radical open border policies are, welcoming so many people to America. What I worry about is all the businesses suffering, the homeless sleeping in tents, and people out of work. But what about all the kids dying from fentanyl in the United States? I mean, we had a record amount of fentanyl that was seized by the brave men and women from Border Patrol in the month of, first 5 months of the year. And so they seized more fentanyl in those 5 months than an entire year last year. So fentanyl, as you can know, is killing like at record levels. I mean, parents are waking up every day because the kids are taking these counterfeit pills and they're not waking up. 1 kilogram of fentanyl can kill 500,000 people. So I'd be a little bit more concerned about American children. My heart goes out to the migrant children and the conditions that they're under, but I also want America to know how many people are dying from fentanyl that's coming over from the Mexican cartels.
Derek, in your experience and obviously reports that you've been through, how are these drugs getting smuggled through? I mean, is it as simple as them putting them in their pockets and walking across the border, or in some cases going on the raft across the river? How is it getting through without being checked?
All of the above. I mean, obviously, like I said, 2.2 pounds of fentanyl can kill 500,000 people. And these counterfeit pills are what are killing everyone now. It doesn't take a lot to smuggle in M30 pills. They take them in over the POE. They take them in between the POE. They use the rafts. They use containers. They use airplanes. They use couriers. They will do whatever it takes to get the pills in America because it's a multi-billion-dollar business, and that's what they're about, making money. But at the same time, it's killing Americans. And these politicians that are sleeping in Washington and not paying attention to the kids that are dying here in America. That should be first. It shouldn't be America last. It should be America first.
Representative, I'll leave it with you for final comment here. Just quickly, 2 things. One, what is your state doing to push back against what's happening at the border? Is Florida getting involved at all? Number 2, Republican lawmakers are scheduled to go to the border to oversee and finally get their own eyes on what's happening there, because these are our lawmakers. They're the ones that can make a difference. Do you support that idea? Again, it's only Republicans at this point. Danny Perez.
Yeah, here in the state of Florida, we don't have the same problems that Texas has or other borders towards the southern coast of the United States. But I actually commend the Florida legislature for doing its work and sending people over to check out the border for themselves. The true problem we have here, Sean, and Derek nailed it, We need a immigration policy and an immigration reform that actually takes care of this on its face. And quite frankly, what the majority party is doing today in the House, in Congress, they're not accomplishing much. They're not accomplishing anything. I would say quite frankly, they're making this situation even worse. But I do send my heart out to those children that are sitting in those same cages that so many people gave former President Trump hassle for, that were actually created by the Obama administration. And here we are today, still trying to listen to others, place blame on former President Trump when he's actually the one that tried to do the most for people in this situation.
Before I go, Representative, are you saying that Kevin McCarthy and other GOP leaders going to the border is a bad idea?
No, I think it's a great idea.
Okay.
I think they need to go out there and see this for themselves. And that's the only way that they can actually try to implement real policy. The problem is Speaker Pelosi is going to stand in their way of implementing real change. She's done it every step of the way. Instead of helping, what does she do? She's blaming the Trump administration. It's childish.
All right, we'll leave it right there. Thank you so much, Danny Perez, Derek Maltz. Always a pleasure. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.